Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So let's start discussing on the next part on this video series, the interview question and answer related to the Databricks. So in this video, we'll discuss first managed and unmanaged table. So we'll understand the detail and after that, so we will cover like what are the question it may be get asked related to this. Sorry. Simplified, like understanding the managed and unmanaged table in Databricks. Both managed and unmanaged table store the data in external storage like AWS S3 or Azure ADLS Gen 2, but there are the differences how they are managed. So first we'll understand here there are the two types of tables when we discuss about the Databricks table creation part. One is the managed and another is the unmanaged. And this both the table data will stored in the external location. Managed table, Databricks controls the data. Databricks store your data in its default location, automatically clean up. When you delete, drop the table. Databricks delete the data as well. Use cases best for temporary data or when you want Databricks to handle everything. So what we understand here, manage table. So here we no need to like think about while creating the table where we want to store the data, no need to give the location and all. Just we can create the table, normal syntax, and the table will be like get created. And data will get stored in the Databricks default location. And when we delete the data, or sorry, or the table and the data both will get deleted here. So that's the managed table. So let's understand what is unmanaged table. Unmanaged table, your control data storage. You specify where the data is stored. That is specify like S3 bucket in AWS or ADLS folder. Data stay. When you delete, drop the data remain in the storage. Use cases ideal when you need to control over the data for sharing with other system or external tool. So what is unmanaged table? So unmanaged table where we can create in the Databricks, but the data will not store in the default Databricks location. The data will stored in the specific location. So that we have to be specify where, which cloud we are using. So that specific location we have to give the path and we can store the data. And if we delete the table from the Databricks or the drop, it's normally like the table or the schema will get deleted and metadata also will get deleted, but the data underlying the table will not get deleted. Data remain available in the default location. And when we have to use this, like suppose the whatever the data we have like in the our storage location, that's other team or in our organization, in our company, the multiple people, if they want to use that data, so it's kind of the share or what the delta data lake house kind of the things where all the organization data will be available and the many people are using for their need purpose. So in that such a scenario use cases we have to use the unmanaged table. Example and a scenario. Manage table temporarily analyzes the data that you don't need to manage Databricks. Delete it when you are done. It's like normally like if you want to do some analysis, if you want to do some machine learning or like some data science related some activity, and after that you want to drop this, so like you can use such a kind of the activity managed table. Unmanaged table data you need to share across the multiple platform con- and your control it's also in there means like see if you use the managed table you do not have control on the data, but if you use the unmanaged table you have the control on the data, so you know where your data is storing and you can like play around this data. So that also the one of the advantages here. So let's discuss like the syntax to creating the table in the Databricks. So the normal creating the managed table, it's like create table, table name, after that the whatever the id column int name string we have given here. So it's normally how we'll create the normal SQL table, the same syntax, there is no difference in here. But like when we discuss about unmanaged table, you can see here we are providing the location here, the location of the S3, my bucket and my folder. So that's the difference. So both the syntax it is the same, but like after that, like after closing the bracket using Parquet, the location, the type of whatever the file we are using, so we are providing the location. So that's the normal syntax. So now the explanation in this case, the table store the specified location. Databricks only manage the table schema, simple steps as we discussed. So it will not manage the data in unmanaged table, just it is manage the schema. So now we till now we understand what is managed table and what is unmanaged table, where we have to be use all that. So let's jump into the next step to understand what are the type of the question it may be get asked related to these two kind of the tables what we are using the Databricks, and it will help us to understand more detail, and we can the using the different scenario, and it may be like it will help to understand and provide the clarity on this if someone is asked you. So if we know like the what are the type of the question, so it will be help us. So let's jump into the first question. What is the difference between the managed and unmanaged table in the Databricks? So as we understand the managed table, the have the control in the Databricks, the storage no need to be select, but the when the table is get deleted, underlying data in the schema also will get deleted. So that's the one. The unmanaged table, like where we have to provide the specific location of the table, and if the table is get deleted, data remain available in the specific location. When would you use managed table versus unmanaged table? Yeah, the simple like the many times maybe get asked when we have to use. So, we know that like the what is managed and managed. So when you are really going to use in your uh, application or the project, give me the real time example. So it may help here. Use managed table when you want Databricks to handle the entire data lifecycle, such as for temporary or intermediate data that doesn't need to be shared with other systems. So very clear here. So managed table data we can't share. We do not have the control. So in that place we can use the managed table. The use a unmanaged table when you need more control over your data storage, or when you need to share with other platform or the external system, such as in the data lake architecture kind of the things. So we will use unmanaged table. So what happened when the next question is what happened when you drop a managed table in the Databricks? As we know, when you drop that managed table in the Databricks, definitely data in the schema will get deleted. But what happened when you drop the managed table or the external table in the Databricks? When you drop the external table, Databricks delete the table schema but leave the data in external storage. So because do not have control on the data, just have the schema or the structure. So if you want to do anything, the manually we have to take the action for other location to deleting the data. So how do you create managed table? As we already discussed, the managed table creation it is very simple, and the unmanaged also is very simple. But we have to provide the location, like the from the which location we are trying to take this file of the data, and we are providing the schema top of that file. So can managed tables data be shared with other external tool of the system? No, right? Very simple. Managed table we can't share the data. As generally managed table Data is does not directly accessible outside the Databricks because the Databricks control the storage. If you need to share the data with external system, it's better to use unmanaged table where you control the storage location and other tool can access data directly. So what are the advantages of the using unmanaged table in the data lake architecture? So we'll understand here. The primary advantages is control over the storage location in the data lake where multiple system might need to read or the write data. Using unmanaged table ensure that the data remain accessible outside of the database. It also allow for the better integration with other tool like in the same environment. AWS Athena, Azure, Data Lake, Analytics. If the data is stored in the respective location, not the Databricks only, we are hitting to that location, but the other tool also can use that data and that their purpose they can utilize. In so next question is like in Databricks, how would you load the data into unmanaged table? So the simple the script it is I have shown you the insert into my managed table select star from its normal SQL schema. The similar way we can like store or load the data. So next question is how does the Databricks handle the metadata from managed table and unmanaged table? Databricks handle the table schema metadata for both managed and managed table. However, for managed table, it also control the data storage location, while unmanaged table you define external location. Yes. If you have existing data in S3, which type of the table should you create in the Databricks? So external, of course, unmanaged table you have to be create. You should create unmanaged table, external table because the data already exists in external location. This allow Databricks to reference the data without moving it, preventing your control over the storage. So let's understand some of the tips here. Be prepared, explain the real scenario. It may be the get asked like it's not like the bookish language, so you have to provide your real time implementation project where you have used, how you have used, what are the situation. So based on that managed and unmanaged table, how we have used, we can explain. The practice SQL syntax for creating and managing the table Databricks notebook is you have to practice, so it will help. Understand the importance of the data lifecycle management and how each table type affect it. So understand the importance of the lifecycle of the data. How you external system interact with unmanaged table. So like the external system, how means as we explained, when we use unmanaged table, the data will be stored in the external location, and we have the full control. So so how can we interact with other system like AWS, Athena, and all? So we can interact. So quick scenario based on the question scenario is like your team has a Delta Lake in ADLS Gen 2 that multiple platform, not just Databricks access. You need to turn some analytics in the Databricks, but don't want to move the data. What type of the table will be create and why? So simple answer unmanaged, right? I would be creating the unmanaged table, external table because I need reference existing ADLS without moving it. The data need to be staying available to the other platform outside the Databricks. So this setup allow me to leverage the Databricks for analytics while keeping the data in the shared accessible location. So thank you. We stop here. So let's catch on the next video.